What's up, everyone? Today we're learning to clean our coffee pots. If you're like me, you kind of live on coffee. At one point, you solely survived on coffee, and I am very passionate and very adamant about making sure that my coffee pot gets cleaned. If I turn my coffee pot on, I have a newer coffee pot. Not all coffee pots do this, so it's important to know that you should routinely clean your coffee pot. I think mine asks to be cleaned usually after so many cycles, but it gives me an indicator light right here that I need to clean my pot. So that's what we're going to do today. If you don't have a indicator light for your coffee pot, I highly suggest you clean it maybe every 1 to 2 months, just to really help prevent that lime scale buildup that you typically see in coffee pots. It's going to keep your coffee tasting fresh, and it's not going to take on some super funky flavors if you keep your coffee pot regularly cleaned. So I have a Ninja coffee maker. I absolutely love it. We are eventually going to have to upgrade to a little bit of a bigger one, but for now, this is perfectly sufficient for what we need. And most coffee pots come with some sort of instruction manual on how to clean. This one in particular, the directions are right on the back. This gives cleaning instructions and everything that you need to do, but down here, it says you can use a descaling solution from ninjakitchen.com, or we can use white vinegar. White vinegar is absolutely amazing as a cleaning agent, non-toxic. I 100% love using vinegar inside items, especially like this, because I know there are no chemicals and there isn't going to be any sort of residuals, toxins lurking around inside my coffee maker. We are also going to make sure that the grounds reservoir doesn't have any coffee grounds in it. It still has coffee grounds from this morning. So we're going to take care of that as well before we get the cleaning cycle going. So personally, I like to use the reusable coffee filter. It cuts down on my spending. So coffee filters have gotten a little more expensive over the years, but also because it reduces my waste. Yes, I could get a compostable coffee filter, but this guy I think it's more sustainable, it's more renewable. This is my preference. So we're gonna rinse this bad boy out. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to get most of the coffee grounds out, so that way what's going through is the actual cleaning water that we're going to use. Okay, so we can pop that guy in there. So now we are gonna get our white vinegar. Okay, so we're gonna fill it to the travel line. I may need to get more vinegar. We'll find out. All right, friends, I went and grabbed us one more jug because we're just shy, and I want to make sure we are not skimping on our cleaner. So we're just gonna add a little bit more, and there we go. We are at the travel mug line. So let's grab this. Okay. That just twists on. We'll get this out of the way real quick. There we go. I'm not even going to worry about rinsing this out because once we go through this whole brew cycle, we're actually going to want to then clean everything. We'll run a whole nother reservoir of just plain water just to make sure we get all of the vinegar out of the system, and then all of this is going to get washed. So I'm not worried about making sure that I clean this before running this cleaning process. Everything will turn out fine. So all I do is now I have it on the full and I just hit clean. Now this doesn't require any input from us until this brew cycle is over. So now you have an hour to do whatever else you need to do to fill your time. I'm gonna put this vinegar away. We're gonna recycle this jug, and we will get to the espresso machine at a later date. Actually, no, we are gonna do the espresso machine now. It's not gonna take too terribly much. This water's been in here for a while, so we're gonna empty this. Again, we filled this reservoir mostly with water, and then we're gonna add some white vinegar on top. Okay, and then we're just gonna get this guy brewing as well, because I would like some espresso in the future. So we are just gonna turn that guy on. I need to get a big enough mug so this I can cycle through all of this. And what do I want to use? We are gonna use, I think you're too big. You are too big. I think we're gonna use my nice little Corningware just to catch. We're also gonna put the portafilter in just because it could probably use a nice vinegar touch. We will just scoop that on in. And we're gonna wait for this to get hot because I do want some hot water to run through it. So while we're waiting for this water system to heat up, we're gonna put the vinegar away now because we're done with the vinegar. Okay friends, so on our espresso machine, this light went off, so it's done heating. Now all I need to do is flip it to brew, and it's going to start running the vinegar water solution through the system. My espresso machine is not one that will pull shots for any particular time. I actually have to tell it to stop pulling. If any of you are familiar with some espresso machines, if any of you have ever worked for Starbucks and probably Dutch Bros or other coffee places, the shots will pull for a specific amount of time and then they'll stop. This espresso machine is not like that. It will keep pulling shots until you turn the dial off until it does stop pulling shots. So just so you know, that's why I let it go and it didn't stop. I just wanted to get that going. Okay, so we're just gonna dump the water and vinegar that just came out of the espresso machine down the sink, and we're gonna repeat until we drain the reservoir. We're gonna put some fresh, clean water just to then push all of the vinegar out of the pipes within the machine, and our espresso machine will be clean. Okay. We're gonna set that there. While this is going, I'm gonna show you that here is now how much water has been pushed through the system, and we still have, I don't think you can see that, we still have about 51 minutes left. But we're just gonna let this keep going till we're done. And you can see this water is not nearly as dirty as the first batch, which is great. It means we're cleaning all of the stuff out of the system, which is exactly what we want. I don't think we're gonna get the rest of the reservoir in here without overflowing, which is totally fine. So let me go dump this and we'll do that one more time. Okay, this should be the last bit of vinegar water, and then we'll fill the reservoir up with clean fresh water. Now all we're doing is making sure that we get that vinegar out of the system to prevent any disgusting vinegar flavored espresso when I go to make an espresso, probably tomorrow. So that'll be great. Now that we have cleaned the espresso machine and we're still waiting on the coffee pot to finish its cleaning cycle, we are gonna go ahead and get these strawberries cleaned that I bought the other day. That way they are ready and fresh for us to eat whenever we want. Strawberries were on sale at my King Supers, and it was too good of a deal for me to pass up. Strawberries are in season. However, we want to clean our strawberries. Strawberries are consistently on the Dirty Dozen list, which is the list of fruits and vegetables that are considered to be the most exposed to herbicides and pesticides, and strawberries are one of them. I believe bell peppers are also on that list, and I think apples are on that list. I would double check, look it up for yourself, but I know strawberries are on it. We are going to fill this container with 1 cup of vinegar and 3 cups of fresh water. We're gonna switch them around, let them soak for about 5 minutes. We're gonna strain them, and then we're gonna give them a really thorough rinsing, and that's gonna get rid of that vinegar flavor. And then we're gonna prep them for eating. I'm just gonna take the stems and everything off, because then they're more of a convenience for me to eat, because I really don't wanna eat them if it means that every time I go to eat them, I have to pit them and clean them, and if I get that done now, will be solid. Plus, the tops aren't going to go to waste. They're going to go into my compost, and they're going to benefit my garden later. So nothing gets wasted in this process. So let's fill it up. So this is my reverse osmosis filter. It's under the sink. It just filters our water. I'm going to use that to clean our strawberries, and we want 3 cups. And the side of this measuring cup, it's a Tupperware, has the measurements on it. So we're just going to fill it up to that. That looks about good. And now we're going to add a cup of vinegar. Okay. We're going to plop our strawberries in. Hopefully I didn't get too small of a bowl. We'll find out, won't we? Super exciting. Okay, so now we're going to try and get all of these just soaking. Okay. There we go. We found it. Okay, so now we're just gonna let that go. So now we're just gonna let this soak for 5 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back. It's been 5 minutes. The water does visually look dirtier. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go grab this colander that I pulled out, and we're just gonna strain the strawberries, and we're gonna give them a really good rinse. Do a couple at a time. Okay. All I'm gonna do we'll give them one more rinse after this. So I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love strawberries. I've got some strawberries growing in the basement right now. That's where all the grow system, but not for any other reason that they're down there, because my cat will eat them. I tried in the windowsill last year, and it didn't take long for him to just, oh, that berry is bad. It didn't take long for him to kind of just demolish the strawberries, which was pretty saddening. But I'm excited because I'm going to try and grow some strawberries again this year, and they're looking so much better. They're so healthy. So we're just going to give these guys a really good rinse now that I've got the space. And we'll do this to the other set that I just cut. So we'll tuck these into here now. Give them one more good rinse, and then we'll pour those guys into there. There we go. We'll just throw you into the compost section for now. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm growing strawberries this year, and I'm really excited because I love strawberry jam. I like throwing the strawberry jam into my yogurt as a sweetener, so I'll get unsweetened yogurt, and that way I can control the sugars. And I know the only source of sugar is coming from the jam, instead of all the extra added sugars to whatever they put in the yogurt, or to whatever I decided to put in the yogurt if I make it from home. But if you get your strawberries cleaned and chopped up shortly after you purchase them, I find that I tend to actually not waste my strawberries, because it's just a pain to do, you know. There's nothing fun about this process at all. And you just want to push it off and you want to push it off. But I know if I push it off, the strawberries are going to go bad before I decide to eat them. So if I get them all prepped for me, I know that I will go ahead and I will eat them, which is great. It's exactly what I want. That's why I bought them. So you can do so many things with strawberries. You can make jams, you can make jellies, you can make strawberry shortcake. They're a great dessert food in my opinion, which is great. I'm just making sure I gave these a really good rinse since we soaked them in vinegar. I don't want them to have any funky taste. And then same here, we're just going to give these guys one more really good rinse. And we're going to drain them. Okay. And there we go. That's all it took. The strawberries were just quick and easy. It took probably a total of 10 minutes because they had to sit for 5, which is no big thing. This is my compost bucket. I keep it underneath my sink. If any of you have not tried even just doing a compost bucket, even if you don't have a garden, I'm sure you probably won't have any issue finding somebody who would love your compost if you just reserved all of your food scraps. And additionally, once we stopped throwing all of our food scraps in the trash, the amount of trash that we went through in a week dramatically changed. We only go through 1 trash bag a week, and even then sometimes we can definitely push it further. So just a tip, if you have food scraps, maybe consider composting. Find a friend, find a family member. I'm sure there is somebody that you can get in touch with who would be more than happy to take all of your food scraps for you. It's just one way to keep things from just being a total waste. We have become such a throwaway, wasteful society, and I would like to do my part in limiting the amount of waste that I produce. And this is going to go into my garden, which is going to save me money because I'm just throwing more and more nutrients back into the garden, and I'm not going to have to buy as much fertilizer. I'm going to make such a hardy, rich soil for my fruits and vegetables to thrive in the years to come. So, but that's it. These are our strawberries. I'm really excited. I'm sure these taste delicious. I actually haven't tried one yet. Oh yeah, it's strawberry season, guys. It is upon us. So hopefully now you take the time to clean your strawberries, because who knows what's on them. This was an organic container of strawberries, just so you guys know. But even then, organic or not, they're still just exposed to so much because they are generally grown on the ground. So hopefully you liked this. If you did, I appreciate a thumbs up. I appreciate you sticking around because there is so much more in store. All right, everyone, our coffee pot just finished. Our gross, murky water is now washed through. We are going to fill this reservoir with clean filtered water, and we're going to cycle the coffee pot one more time just to get all of the vinegar water out of the system, and then the actual system will be ready to go and will be clean and it's all taken care of. And then we'll just need to clean this. We'll need to clean the filter, and this whole piece comes out, and then we'll clean the pot, okay? And this is some hot water, okay? Like the coffee pot did go through essentially a brewing cycle, so just be very cautious when you're dumping out the water from your coffee pot after cleaning it, because this is very hot. We are going to get this filled. And you can do this, I don't know if I made this clear earlier, but you can 100% do this regardless of the type of coffee pot that you have, unless your coffee pot specifically says you can't use anything else on it, which I'm not super familiar with a coffee pot that is like that, but just so you know, most coffee pots you can clean with vinegar and water, but any coffee pot, just fill it full, do about half white vinegar, half water, run it through a brew cycle, dump it out, and then just straight clean water, run it through another brew cycle, and you've cleaned the system out of your coffee pot. So you can do this regardless of what kind of coffee pot you have. So let's go get this back on. And we will just hit brew one more time. And then once this is done, so we'll clean the reservoir, we'll clean the reusable filter, the system that the filter sits in that slides in and out, we'll clean that, and then we'll clean the carafe. And then that's it. That's all that it'll take to clean this coffee pot, and we can keep having fresh coffee every morning. Now we're gonna take the carafe. Okay, our coffee pot is done. All of this is really hot, so I'm just gonna turn this off. This reservoir, we're gonna take off. We're gonna clean it. We're gonna take this guy out. We're gonna clean it. We're gonna empty the carafe, and we're gonna clean it. So now we're gonna open this guy, and this just slides on up. I'm dripping water absolutely everywhere. It's a great thing we cleaned today, because now I'm dripping this all over the place. But my reusable coffee filter is in here. We're just gonna take this whole system. Now we're gonna take the carafe. Okay, so we're gonna pour this really, really hot water down the sink. And I'm actually just going to set this on a towel so it can cool, because we don't want to put cold water into this carafe or we will shatter the whole thing. So we're just going to set this over here. We're going to let that cool. Okay, and so now we're back to the coffee pot. I'm going to clean up my water mess here on the floor in a second, but we're just going to clean up, like some dust gets caught in here or debris. But we're also, if you look at the top of this is where all the water comes streaming down. And you do want to make sure you give this a good clean too, because residual coffee, as the water is shooting down, the coffee grounds will splash up and it'll make this roof really gross. So whatever system you have, it'll have something similar where the water pours and shoots down onto the coffee grounds. You just want to make sure that you give that a good scrub every now and then, because coffee grounds will splatter up and it'll cake on there. But we're just going to give this a good wipe down for now. And that's it. We're just going to let this, we might just let this sit here because water keeps dripping, and we'll clean up the water on the floor in a minute. So while I'm letting all of this stuff cool, all you need to use now on these items, and it's just to get all of the caked on like coffee. So I don't know if you can see this in here. I don't know if you can see, but there is a bunch of like caked on coffee throughout here, which is why you do still need to like wash all of this, because you want to get all of that gone as well. But all you need to clean this now is just basic soap and water and let it dry. There's nothing more to it. You don't need anything special. No special cleaners. Now this is hot water that I'm pouring into here. It's not cold water. Now we're just going to add just a little bit of soap. We're going to add some water. We're going to use our scrubby brush. We're just going to get in here and give this a nice scrub. If any of you have a glass coffee pot and you've noticed that like you get that coffee stain rim on here, vinegar will really help with that. Plus, cleaning the carafe like on a regular basis makes a huge difference. I also used to work in a coffee shop, so coffee maintenance on your coffee pot is kind of a big deal to me, because I've seen what happens when things don't get taken care of and things don't get cleaned, and it's pretty gnarly, guys. So letting your coffee sit out all day and then eating and then drinking it the next day. I know there are people who love to do it, and I'm not necessarily knocking it, but you do run a mold risk at that point. It doesn't take a whole lot for mold to grow in your coffee, especially because most coffee as it is, contains some sort of mycotoxin, and it is essentially kind of a mold toxin. So if you notice that you get headaches, or you're groggy, or you're looking into your health, definitely look into mycotoxins on your coffee. There are some coffees that are mycotoxin free. They are expensive. So definitely something to look into if that's a thing that you're worried about. But just a heads up, I'm not typically a fan of leftover coffee for that reason, is it breeds a moldy environment. So I'm just using a straw cleaner, and the way that my system is designed, we're just gonna get a straw cleaner in there. This gets pretty nasty. We're just gonna give this a good scrub, just to use up the soap. There we go. Just like that, we've got a clean coffee pot for some fresh coffee tomorrow morning before we go to work. And that's all it takes. That honestly only took about 5 to 10 minutes of solid effort on our part. The machine did most of it. So if this is not something that you've tried, I highly recommend you look into cleaning your coffee pot, because you never know what type of mineral buildup there is in your coffee pot. You never know what could be growing in there. So I just wanted to take this time to say thank you. I appreciate you for stopping by. And if this is something that you're interested in, leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, if there's anything else that you would like to see from me. But also consider hitting that like button if you did enjoy this content, and maybe consider subscribing, because there is so much more that we have in store on this channel. But I hope you have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.